Wait,
Hey, hold on.
I'm
Can we
pretty
do
sure
this?
he's
Guys,
black,
listen here,
too.
listen here, listen
Any
here.
popular group just needs one person.
Listen
doing
here. I
something
write
else.
short stories. What if I translate my short stories?
Wait, let me
The
read some of these.
Rhinestone Cowboy.
Alright, so this one's a pretty fun one.
Page essay.
The Rhinestone Cowboy.
Yeah, so if we
What's
go
part one?
over...
Does he have sex with women?
No, men. Only men.
I see some red
Dude, he's
underwear.
gay. He's so gay, bro.
Oh my god.
The way I
Crocs,
write
dude.
these is, like, gonna really be good.
Crocs, you really should have told us this earlier.
Alright, let's start from here. And let's go up to...
Something about his cactus.
here.
Yeah.
This Jack sent me to kill
Put it in
you.
Google Translate.
Okay, put it in Arabic.
Hold on, let me read it. Let me read this excerpt as is, and then I'll
Yeah.
translate it afterward.
Alright.
Hold on, I gotta warm up my voice. Okay, listen to me now. He tied his cactus off to the hitching post and walked into the closest inn to cop himself a cozy room. The inn had a bar which had around 9 people sitting at it, all looking increasingly more dubious than the last. I'm talking, the last guy had a monocle, a
We don't
top hat,
fucking want
white
to hear the
gloves,
fucking
a
story.
two-piece suit,
This
some seriously
fucking
pointy facial hair,
fucking
one of those
shut up.
canes with a huge gem as a handle, and I guess the pile of dead bodies next to him slightly hinted at something. The first guy actually looked like a pleasant guy who might lend your mother a cup of sugar if she asked, but he had some pretty shifty-looking eyebrows, so I wouldn't trust him. The Rhinestone Cowboy sat down next to the fourth and fifth suspicious people, which is a little rude because maybe they were all friends and he just pushed his way in between them. The Rhinestone Cowboy glared at the barkeep and prepared to speak his order. Yeah, let me get a milk on the rocks, hold the rocks. As the bartender poured the Rhinestone Cowboy strangely ordered
No
drink,
talking
the
during
seventh
serving
suspicious
time.
character
Shut
at the
the
bar
fuck
said to the
up, you
Rhinestone
Blake.
Cowboy, "Wow, that's a really cute outfit you have on. Sure would be a shame if someone got blood on it." The Rhinestone Cowboy winked at the man with both eyes and then drank his milkless rocks. He then purchased a room and went to sleep.
Fucking Crocs.
That was beautiful.
It was
Why the
pretty
fuck
good.
is a cowboy drinking milk?
Yeah.
Alright, now let's
Okay,
translate this to
Spanish?
Luxembourgish.
Okay.
You have to
And
do it
then-
like with some fucking weird
Then
fucking
copy the
Korean sounding
translation and
shit.
put it the fuck back.
Do
It's like
that.
Atma.
And then change it to like Portuguese or something.
You have to change it to
Portuguese.
several languages if you want it to be
Portuguese.
really
Korean.
weird.
And then we're gonna take the Portuguese.
Mhm.
Who else got a language? Who else can pick a language?
We're gonna put this
Oh,
to
you're-
Korean.
Korean.
It's on there too.
We're
Some
gonna take it
Japanese
from
because they're the same
Korean.
language.
And we're gonna put it into
Japanese
Slavic.
because they're the same language.
Okay, after Slavic, we're doing Thai.
Thai, and
yeah.
then back to English.
Yeah.
Where is Thai? Somewhere
It's,
around here.
It's-
Thai. Okay,
This is
that's a
gonna be
nice
fun.
little Sanskrit looking.
I swear this is gonna be fun.
This one's gonna be great.
And then back to
Wait, did it
English.
just shorten?
What happened? What happened?
What? This whole story
What?
changed.
Hold on a second. Alright.
Okay, let's read.
Okay.
Alright, hush now. Hush now. Hush
Okay,
now.
okay, okay.
No more interrupting. No
Wait,
interrupting.
let me read it.
No, you can't read.
No
This is
talking
literally,
during
I wrote
story
this. It's mine.
Not fine.
He tied the cactus to the hanging pole and went to the nearest hotel to prepare a comfortable room. There was a bar in the hotel that can accommodate about 9 people, all of which are more obscure than before. The last man wore 1 glasses, a hat, a white glove, 2 pieces of suit, seriously pointed facial hair on his face, and one of the
Why
pieces
is
with
this
large
better?
gems. And I think the corpse next to him indicated something. The first man seemed like a nice guy who could lend me a glass of sugar if my mom asked me, but I couldn't believe it because his brows were crazy. The metal jewel sitting next to the fourth and fifth suspect might look a little rude because they're all friends and just standing between them. The metal jeweler looked at the bartender and was ready to order. Yeah, get milk, ice a stone. The bejeweled cowboy blinked at both men and drank the stone. Then he bought a room and fell asleep.
Wow. That was
Fucking
amazing.
stupid.
Okay, the first part actually sounded good to accommodate 9 people.
Do we wanna make this even worse?
Yeah,
Yeah.
get milk ice and stone.
Can you do a different paragraph?
I think we should make this one worse. Alright, I'll go from Greek.
Don't do Latin. It's gonna
Go
fuck
to
up
Latin.
everything. No, Latin barely has any of the English words. You shouldn't.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Look how short that is.
I'm gonna do it.
Okay,
Don't do
Josh.
it.
I'm
It's
doing
gonna
it.
shorten this-
All right.
Oh my god, what
Hold on. I didn't look at it yet. And now we're ready to go. And
Alright, let's
binding
go.
it with the cross for the righteous to prepare for that next blossoming cactus of investors. There is a bar can accommodate up to 9 people and hotel with not more than of the former. The last man carrying a glass of water, too strong white coat of hair on the face of Big Money struggle to demonstrate that the body. The first one looked like it would be a good and give a cup of sugar if my mother. But we do not believe. That is to be insane, and their eyes they have. The fifth step, suspicion, fifth jewelry, stand between friends that you can do a little offensive. For he saw that the bar is prepared as a metallurgist, so such
Metal.
as milk, ice cream.
I don't know.
The cow and the same
So
sound
such as
looked at the two
Ice
stone.
cream.
Then he slept and bought a house.
Oh, so before he bought and
That's
he
good.
slept,
That's
but now he
great.
slept
That's
and
too
bought
good.
Let's do it again.
Such as milk ice cream.
This is
Milk.
This is
So-
definitely-
so such as milk.
such as milk,
Make that your
ice
fucking
cream.
Status. Make that your status.
Hold on, I'm just gonna copy and paste it.
So such as
Such
milk.
as milk.
So such as milk,
Ice cream.
ice cream.
I might make that my status. So such as milk ice cream.
So such as milk, ice cream. This whole thing, this whole one is a trip, and binding it with the cross for the righteous to prepare for the next blossoming cactus for investors. Like it's just so powerful.
Sound like Taking Back Jerusalem.
Alright. What else do we got? Do we want a different paragraph from the same story?
Yeah, different
Yeah,
paragraph.
another paragraph.
Yeah,
What do you
well,
want?
I'll do this whole thing because I'm. All right, so I'm gonna read this now. No interrupting, please. Sometime at dawn, the rhinestone cowboy heard howling from the rooms adjacent to his. He then started hearing a loud banging at the door. He drew his gun, fearing that the ninth dastardly-looking guy at the bar was about to add him to his body collection. There was more banging at the door, and soon enough an axe was chopping it down. After the rhinestone cowboy finished drawing his gun on a piece of paper, he pulled out his revolver to shoot whoever was breaking into the room. The door busted open, and the kind-looking guy with shifty eyebrows stepped in. The rhinestone cowboy froze in fear of the now menacing stature of the 4'7" perpetrator. "Good morning, let's get this bread," screamed the tiny man with the weird eyebrows. The rhinestone cowboy was extremely confused because bread had not been invented yet. The scary man went left to scream into the next few rooms, and the rhinestone cowboy briefly contemplated suicide. He then decided to go to the general store to see what's poppin'.
What's popping?
He walked in to
Playing
see a
Red
man who
Redemption
presumably
Online.
was the shopkeep, eating a bowl of nails without any milk. "Oi, you got anything good in you?" slurred the rhinestone cowboy. "Well, I got this here doohickey that makes your larger," said the shopkeep, holding up a strange device that looked like a turkey baster attached to a canteen of, hopefully, water. The rhinestone cowboy politely declined the product and yeehawed out into the middle of a duel. He apologized to the two duelists, but they were pretty sore about the interruption. They angrily grunted, waving their hands in the air like puppets. The rhinestone cowboy pulled out his guns and threw them at each duelist, striking one in the elbow and the other in the toe. They died instantly. The rhinestone cowboy left his guns on the ground, grabbed his cactus, and rode off to the next town. After he was gone, the third suspicious man from the saloon had mounted up and took off after the rhinestone cowboy. As the suspicious dude tore through the trail, his cloak had blown away, revealing that he was Sheriff Man-Guy Male. He was hunting down the rhinestone cowboy for an undisclosed but slightly insinuated reason. Alright, this one.
Please make more stories. That was amazing.
I know, I do. And I'm currently in a creative writing class, but right now we're doing poems, which is pretty gay.
Yeah, that's
Are
good.
you actually
So-
gonna send one of these things?
You know, you should
writing
just Google
to-
Translate your whole story and then just turn that in.
Then
German,
after
And then
after
do
Germany, do
Hindi.
Japanese.
Yeah, do Japanese.
German
They're
to
friends.
Japanese.
Japanese and Hindi, please.
Where is J? Hold on, I'm not good with the alphabet.
Above,
Give me a
it's
second.
above Javanese.
Javanese. Okay, that helps me so much.
It's
Look under
right in the middle.
Italian.
It's right
Latvian,
that one. You just
Polish,
move up, move
Look,
M.
look under
Oh, you can
Italian.
literally-
Polish.
Italian,
Look
Japanese.
under Italian.
Oh my god.
All right. At dawn, the rhinestone cowboy heard a growl from the next room. Then he started hearing a big knock at the door. He pulled out his pistol for fear that the sneaky look of the ninth man from the stick from the stick was about to add to his body collection. The door was knocked again, and soon the axe cut it down. After the rhinestone cowboy drew a pistol on paper, he pulled out a revolver to shoot someone who invaded the room. The door opened and a handsome man with sly eyebrows entered. The cowboy Strass froze for fear of the horrific growth of a 4'7" high attacker. "Hello! Attempts to put the bread in hand?" shouted a man with strange eyebrows. The rhinestone cowboy was very confused because bread hadn't been invented yet. Suicide! Then he decided to go to the grocery store to see what the poppies were. He went inside and saw a man who seemed to be the owner of the store eating his nails without milk. "Well, I have this jerk that makes you bigger, The shopkeeper politely shakes a strange turkey pear-like device connected to a bottle of water. Strass cowboy politely. Discarding the item and eventually in the middle of a duel, he apologized to both duels, but they were very hurt by the interruption. They roared viciously and shook their arms like turkeys in the air. The rhinestone cowboy left them behind. His hands touched the ground, grabbed the cactus, and headed for the next town. After he left, a third suspect in the living room stood up. He took off after a rhinestone cowboy. When a suspicious man tore the runway, his cloak fell apart and flew away, turning him into a man-gamed security officer. Was looking for a rhinestone, not a cowboy, but a slightly implied reason.
I can't get over the suicide part.
Bread had not been invented yet. Suicide.
The bread hasn't been invented. I want to make that my stack.
Send me that. I need that one.
This whole thing, or what?
Actually, yeah, just send
Just
the
the
whole.
bread part.
So you could send me the
I'll
whole.
take the bread part.
Here.
Bread had not been invented yet. Suicide.
The rhinestone cowboy killed himself because bread didn't exist.
Hold on.
Uncle
Here's the part.
Jenkins.
Here's the part. Here's the part.
Ragnarok.
Here's the part that.
Yeah.
This is the part that is the first rhinestone cowboy that I remembered and wrote like 3 years later. So there was this cowboy, you see. One day he walked into a saloon and shot everyone. A friendly compliment. Then he raised his gun, and in an instant there was red everywhere. He had thrown the confetti all about the room to announce his arrival. He wore arseless chaps that went by the name the Rhinestone Cowboy, on account of having his chaps being bedazzled with them sparkly doohickeys. After leaving the saloon, he met the sheriff of the town, Sheriff Manguymail. They locked eyes, and it seemed a duel would erupt. The only thing that erupted was their emotions for each other. They screamed and hugged each other, jumping around like little girls who just got their first Barbie doll. They spent hours catching up when they parted ways for the night. The Rhinestone Cowboy went to the general store that night to purchase some rope, a horse, and a cactus. He arrived back at his rented cottage, threw the horse from the rafters, and rode the cactus off into the sunset. The next morning, Sheriff Manguymail swooped by to check in on the cowboy. He saw the horse hanging from the ceiling and gasped, "Jeffrey, where did Stacy go?" Stacy was the name of the Rhinestone Cowboy. "I see. You still won't talk to me, Jeffrey. Fine, I'll go find him myself." And
That was interesting.
so should we
Hope you
translate
got a
it?
Google Translate that.
Okay.
That's looking very bad.
Very short, very short. Now there's a cow, you know, all of his car and shot. One day he got the praise of his friends, then suddenly raised the red gun, and he told me arrival and spread on paper and in the backyard. He was also known as Rhinestone Cowboys, further because he wears a skirt, cruel, bright young man, and a cake hockey. And a cake hockey. Things had happened in the car, and by the greater Manguymail, all to met them, as the drum eyes, the only thing, all affected. And then they cried themselves to one another just as she was found himself observing the first Barbie doll, and split the hours they had in the night. Night kids to the store to buy rhinestone wire. Cactus horse received the money home. Where'd to go? Stacy is deprived of her. I saw. Jeffrey, you're not talking to me.
Saw.
In this way I will, for my sake, shall find it.
Stacy is deprived of her.
I think all of my brain cells disappeared with this paragraph.